I'm Idiotech, and today I'm here to discuss Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout. Now, the reason I'm focusing solely on Blackout is because, frankly, that's all anyone really cares about. The multiplayer is surprisingly fun. As for zombies, it's not for me. I don't like zombie horde mode shooters, but it's, it's the same old, same old. If you like that, you're gonna like it. But the focus here is Blackout. That's the new thing, right? That's the new hotness. We have an entry from a AAA studio in the first-person battle royale space. And that's huge for a lot of people. We've wanted this for a long time. Is it good? It is good. It has some problems. I'll get into them. But for the most part, I've had a really fun time. I've been playing this all weekend and on stream a couple of times. And I'm just now sort of getting fully to grips with all of its mechanics, understanding some of the nuance. It's pretty good. I'm surprised to say I'm enjoying a Call of Duty game in 2018. Didn't think I'd be saying that this year, but there you go. So let's get into what's good about it, shall we? We got polish. That's a huge thing right there, because the entire first-person shooter battle royale space is lacking polish. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which is, I guess, the biggest one, is buggy. It looks like shit. It's full of hackers. There are a ton of problems with that game. Not here. I mean, it has a couple of bugs. Nothing major, though. I mean, I've played the game for, I don't know, 20, 30 hours now. I've had like 2 bugs. I will discuss them because they need to be discussed. But compared to like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, it's night and day. It sounds great. It looks great. It runs well. Very few problems in terms of production, which is all a lot of people need to hear because, frankly, we've been plagued by terrible indie versions of the Battle Royale for a couple of years now. Now, we got to be thankful to indie devs for actually pushing the mode. People are enjoying it. It's great fun, and it spawned things like Fortnite, which is a plague on this earth. But never mind. It's a good game in that sense. It's polished, which is all a lot of people care about. Let's talk about some of the more detailed features. We got weapons and gadgets, right? These are a huge part of any Battle Royale game. The weapons you pick up, the variety they offer in terms of strategy and tactics, and then the gadgets you can use. So we have shotguns, we have semi-automatic, we have fully automatic assault rifles, we have light machine guns, and we have sniper rifles and a rocket launcher. They're the main categories, right? We also have some fun weapons like the ray gun and the MP40, and you get those from zombies and blah, blah, blah. We'll get into that in a minute. But those are your categories. The shotguns are scary at close range. They will destroy you real quick, which I quickly learned as I was playing the game. I thought to myself, shotguns, they're probably not that great, right? Nope, they're really good. They destroy you. SMGs are kind of a good early game weapon, but they fade off towards the end, which is a little bit of a shame, and I kind of hope they buff them a bit. Then we got assault rifles, which are your mainstay. There are a ton of different versions of these. Obviously, some are better than others. They're going to tweak these and change these things, I imagine. Some have different recoil patterns. Some are more powerful, blah, 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 blah. As you would expect, variety. Then we got the Lmgs. Now, I don't really use these. They seem to have horrible spread. They do a ton of damage, but hitting people with them at range is impossible. For me, I don't find them particularly useful. And then we have sniper rifles, which will destroy people at range and are very useful. All of the weapons, for the most part, aside from LMGs, are pretty useful. I don't use the rocket launchers because hardly anyone uses vehicles because it's a huge flag saying, hey, look at me. Can someone please shoot me in the head? So people avoid vehicle usage. And there is vehicles in the game. We have helicopters, we have cars, we have trucks, we have dirt bikes. Not dirt bikes, those buggy things, four-wheelers. Yeah, at first I used them, and then I quickly realized that you're just insanely loud, everyone can see and hear you, and then you die. So I don't use them very much anymore unless I need to get out of the circle. But there's a good variety of weapons here, which is important for a game like this, because that's one of the key focuses. You pick up weapons and then you shoot people with them. The gunplay is really nice, which I'll get into. The gadgets are cool. The gadgets add a lot of variety on top of, say, like PUBG's traditionalism and milsimmy take on this genre. The gadgets are a lot more fun here. We have a 9-bang, which will flash people 9 times. We have concussion grenades. We have normal grenades. We have Molotovs. We have cluster grenades, which will explode and then release more grenades. Grenades inside of your grenades. We have grappling hooks, which are great for traversing the map and getting up to high places. We have sensor darts, which will put down like a ring, a cone, that will tell you on the minimap if anyone's nearby, which is super useful in the late game. We have a trophy system, which will essentially collect grenades that are thrown at you and destroy them. and nullify them, which is, again, very useful in the late game. And then on top of that, we have perks, which are from the multiplayer mode, and they give you things like dead silence, so you don't make noise anymore. Or they give you awareness, which allows you to hear footsteps a lot louder. Or we have a perk that lets you see vehicles, or a perk that lets you see where all the loot is, or a perk that makes you immune to flashbangs and, you know, take less explosive damage. There's a ton of different perks here, and they are very useful and enjoyable to use, and they give you a ton of variety every time you play. Every time you play, it feels different because you're getting different perks every time, you're getting different weapons every time, different gadgets every time. And of course, you're going to hunt for specific things, right? But you won't always get them, and you have to deal with what you get. And that forces you to use perks and different gadgets in different ways and be creative, which makes every game feel unique and different. I really do like the addition of perks. It adds something quite unique to the game mode. We also have zombies, which is an interesting addition and actually quite fun and tactical. There's these cones of light that shoot up into the sky all over the map, various locations. I think they move around. They seem to. And if you go there, there's going to be a ton of undead. And if you kill the undead, they drop weapons and health and various items for you to use. But if you kill all of them in the area, you get to unlock a special chest. And that chest will usually contain high-level armor, a high-level weapon, and a bunch of attachments or health kits or whatever. So they're well worth doing if you're nearby. The problem is that you're very loud when doing that because you're shooting a ton of zombies over and over again, so you attract a ton of players towards you. So there's some risk-reward there. And I've enjoyed it every time I've done it. Every time I've done it, I've been like, okay, I've got to kill these as quickly as possible, get the loot, and inevitably someone shows up and tries to steal the loot from me at the end, which is, it's always fun. You get into a fun gunfight. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But I think that's a nice addition. It adds some variety. The map design itself is quite good. Every single location is based on a previous multiplayer map from the Black Ops franchise. So we have like Nuketown, and we have Factory, and we have Estates, and all these different areas. It's cool. I know those locations from playing those games, some of them at least. I haven't played Black Ops for a while. But it's cool to see those iconic locations come back and have them tied into sort of an overworld. Also, the map itself seems pretty well designed. There's a ton of vaulting and movement opportunities in this game, and every single aspect of the map allows you to take advantage of that. But the map's also a lot smaller. It's more condensed, which is important because in a game like Call of Duty, you're expecting action. And so the smaller map and everything being more condensed generally means that no matter where you go, you're going to find a firefight. You know, you can drop into the hot zones directly below where the helicopter is taking you. But if you go slightly further afield, you'll still likely run into people pretty quickly. So if you're the kind of person who likes to drop in and spend 20 minutes looting without seeing a person, you might not enjoy this game. But I personally, even though it can be frustrating, do prefer dropping in and having someone to fight immediately. If I'm further afield, I can be more stealthy. If I'm in the center of the map, I need to get a gun and kill people as soon as possible if I want to survive. So it does still offer that different variety in terms of, like, do you want to drop into a hot zone or a cold zone? So that's nice to have, but having the compressed map is, I think, a benefit. And then we have Gunplay. Now, Gunplay is standard Call of Duty fare, right? Most guns have low recoil or recoil patterns that you can predict. They fire very quickly and they do a ton of damage. Unless you're wearing armor, you'll get wrecked pretty fast by most guns. It feels snappy, it feels tight, it feels like Call of Duty. I don't know how to describe the Call of Duty gunplay to someone who's never played Call of Duty before. It has a very unique style and feel to it, and if you've ever played a Call of Duty game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's very, very hard to articulate what it is that feels good about that system. It's very arcadey, right? This is not Battlefield. This is not Armor, right? It's very arcadey, but it feels good, and it works really, really well in this setting. They have added bullet drop to the weapons, which is an important feature to have when you're shooting across the map. You don't want to just shoot ray guns at people. We have movement and vaulting. Now, you can slide, you can jump, you can run, and it's implemented perfectly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's a joy to use. It feels great to move around the game. Running feels smooth. Sliding feels great. Vaulting through windows is great, which is a great way to get in and out of buildings, and it took PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds a long time to add that feature. So that's perfect. Nothing to complain about there. It's nice. The movement feels great. The gunplay feels great, which is very important in a game where you move and shoot all the time. So no complaints there. And finally, they've nailed that frustration and elation element. You drop in, you get killed, you get pissed off. You drop in, you get killed, you get pissed off. You drop in, you get killed, you get pissed off. You drop in, you get... Oh, you don't get killed. Oh, you got a kill. You got another kill. You're at top 5 and you're in the final circle. Oh, you won the game. Amazing. And then you're running around the room, right? It does that very well. It's enjoyable. So overall, the positives are pretty fucking positive. It looks good. It sounds good. It plays well. It has unique things like zombies and perks and gadgets. The weapon variety is good. It has colorful visuals, a good map design. The gunplay is smooth. The movement and vaulting is solid. It has lots of nuance. And it nails the formula. So what's wrong with it? Well, let's talk about that now. First up, bugs, right? It does have some bugs. It crashes sometimes. Some people are not able to actually even run the game. I don't know what's going on there. It's not a huge percentage of people, but I have run into a couple of people who I know from my Discord server who've had the problem, and as a result, I was trying to help them, and I looked it up. There's quite a few people having that bug. There's also bugs where you'll drop out of the sky, not be able to move, land in the water and drown, which is great fun. There was a bug for me where I couldn't heal, which was really frustrating because I had 2 trauma packs and it just wasn't working for whatever reason. But I'd say 99% of my experience was bug-free. I have experienced lag while playing. Now, I'm playing on Australian servers. My MS apparently is around 45 to 50 to the server. Yeah, I'm experiencing pretty significant lag at times. I've seen people rubber band, teleport around. I've been shot round corners. So I don't know what's going on there. I imagine the tick rate on the servers is low. That's what I think's going on. And that's my next complaint. I would love to see some netcode analysis of this game in its final state. I know that Battle Nonsense, the YouTuber, did some tick rate analysis on the game in beta and said the tick rate was around 10, which I find kind of hard to believe, but it could be 10. So I'd love to have his opinion or some additional data from somewhere to really analyze the tick rate and the netcode of this game, because it feels like the tick rate's low, right? It feels like I get shot from around corners. It feels like I put 15 bullets into a guy, he turns around, puts 1 into me, and I die. And then I check the kill cam, and it doesn't look like I put any bullets into him hardly at all, and he unloaded a full clip in me. So there's something going on there with the servers, with the tick rate, with the netcode. I don't know what it is. I don't really want to speculate, but it would be great to see some analysis from someone who knows what they're doing in that field, because I suspect there's some issues, and it can be quite frustrating. Another problem, and this isn't specific to Call of Duty, it's just specific to the genre, and that is RNG, random number generation. Luck. Sometimes you'll drop, you'll find everything you need in 10 seconds, you'll be geared up, and you can just run out and kill everyone. And sometimes you'll have a hard time finding anything at all. And that's just what happens in these games. And when you add randomness to games, it adds a level of enjoyment and a level of frustration. And depending on your luck, you'll feel either enjoyment or frustration. So I don't know how to feel about it. You know, there are certain things you can do to level the playing field while still having randomness. And I'm going to talk about that later when it gets to armor. In fact, no, fuck it. Let's talk about it now. Armor was a massive problem in the beta. A massive problem. Level 3 armor was basically unstoppable. So their solution was to make it less frequent that people can find level 3 armor, and to make it slightly less protective. I haven't noticed the difference. The only difference I've noticed is that less people have level 3 armor. Now, it will get destroyed. So if you shoot up someone's armor, it will break, which is nice, and you can do it. So when I see someone with armor, my goal is to try and get the drop on them, shoot the armor off, run away and heal, come back, try and throw a flashbang at them or something like that, and then have a fair firefight. I don't know. I really don't like the armor in this game. You can probably tell. I don't mind the randomness of perks. I don't mind the fact that sometimes some guy is going to be silent. I don't mind the fact that some guy's going to have a sick assault rifle with every single attachment. I don't mind that. What I mind is that when I'm in a gunfight and I put a clip into a dude and then he can just turn around and headshot me and I'm dead because I don't have any fucking armor on. I find that very, very frustrating. And I think a lot of other people do as well. My suggestion, remove armor entirely from the game, don't have it be an element, and increase people's HP to 200 by default, and allow them to use trauma kits to push it up to 250. Solved. In a lot of these Battle Royale games, like Fortnite, PUBG, you get crates, you get skins, you get all sorts of things. There's a progression tree outside of the main game itself. There is somewhat of a progression tree here. You can unlock characters from previous games. You can unlock iconic characters. What I would like is more rewards along the progression treadmill. There isn't that many right now. A lot of them require you to do specific quests that come up within the game, which again is a nice addition. But I'd like to be rewarded more frequently, because sometimes the game can get pretty frustrating and you can be just throwing yourself to the dogs every single game for like 5, 6, 7 games in a row, and then you come back and your luck improves and you start to do better. But those downtimes can be so frustrating. And if I just got a cool skin, cool helmet, a nice gun skin, something like that as a reward, even though I wasn't doing very well, just to keep me interested, to keep me on that treadmill, I could see myself playing this obsessively if it had something like that in it. Currently it doesn't. I hope they add that moving forward, but I do not want microtransactions, to make this very clear. That would be unacceptable in a $60 game. Long queue times. Now, if you're anywhere outside of the US or Europe, majorly populated areas, you are going to have to wait sometimes for these Battle Royale games to start, especially if you're playing during the day. If you're playing during peak hours, not so much, but if you're playing during the day, for example, in Australia, you're going to have to wait sometimes upwards of 5 minutes to get into a game. And when you drop out of the plane and then get shot in the head immediately, that can get frustrating. There's not a huge amount that can be done about that, obviously, but it is something you need to factor in if you're considering buying the game and you're outside one of those majorly populated areas. Flinching. Now, this is something that's always annoyed me in Call of Duty, and it continues to annoy me, especially in Battle Royale. When you shoot a guy, he flinches. When he shoots you, you flinch. Flinching is a pain in the ass, and it knocks off your aim. If you're in the middle of an intense firefight, and you're trying to kill a man and survive in a game like this, in Battle Royale, where it can go onwards for 20 minutes, flinching is really frustrating. They're not going to remove it. I'm just complaining about it because it pisses me off. Let's move on. User interface on PC is not great. You pick things up by pressing F on the ground. If you want to put an attachment on your gun, you have to either switch to that gun and then pick it up, and it will automatically apply it to the gun, or you can pick it up, it will go on whatever gun you're holding, you can go into your inventory, you can unequip it, then you can switch weapons, and then you can re-equip it, which is just cumbersome. This system from PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is better. You hit tab, it brings up your user interface, you can click everything and move everything around, and you're done. It's far better suited to PC. So yeah, don't like the user interface all that much. You do get used to it. It sort of becomes second nature after a while. It's not a game breaker, but it's not ideal. Also, the fact that you have 3 different healing items, but you can only have 1 equipped at a time is a pain, because it would be nice to just be able to say, okay, I just need a little bit of health. I'm going to hit this button and get a little bit of health. I need massive amounts of health. I need my trauma kit right now. I'm going to hit this button and use my trauma kit. It wouldn't be hard to implement that at all, so I hope they do. And the last negative to talk about is the price. For a lot of people, they're not interested in multiplayer. For a lot of people, they're not interested in zombies. We've done it before. We don't want to do it again. A lot of people just want to play the Battle Royale mode, and having to pay $60 to gain access to that is cheeky, in my opinion. It's cheeky. It's not as bad as what they did with Infinite Warfare and the Modern Warfare remaster by any stretch, but I think they're betting on the fact that people are willing to play this type of game so much, and that they want this type of experience so much, that they're willing to jump in for $60. It would have been nice if the game had released for free with microtransactions, or for a cheaper price, maybe $30, you know, just for this mode. But hey, Activision wants to make their money. I understand that. The question really then comes, is it worth that money? Is it worth $60 just for this mode? The answer to that question, for me at least, is yes. This game has renewed my interest in the genre. I get pissed off. The game frustrates the living hell out of me sometimes, but I keep coming back and I keep playing it. And as soon as I'm done making this review, I'm going to go play it again. That says something. They've really nailed the formula here. They've added some arcadey elements that make it more fun. I wish they would improve the progression system. But other than that, it's a pretty damn good game, and I do look forward to seeing what it is they're going to do with this moving forward. It's a solid recommendation from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time.